everybody doing?
Good.
Yeah, good to see everyone. Just before I answer your questions, I seem to be getting myself in lots of trouble this year, but I want to be just really clear, as I have been trying to be proactive to create buzz for the team and just the enthusiasm. You can understand from my perspective that we have this, I believe, a really special team, and just want the enthusiasm to grow. And I've always been as well, man, I appreciate, I was one of the most bummed people that Juju Watkins got injured, because man, what a great thing it did for our game to have both teams that way. I actually root for them because I think it helps grow the game in that way. What I've been trying to just really implore people is, come check this out. Local news outlets, have you grown as we've grown in terms of our coverage? Has that happened on TV? Has that happened in print media? Has that happened in external media? And so I am for growing the game. I'm not against anybody. I am just really trying to be proactive to go, man, I really think there's something special going on with these young women, and I just encourage people to look for ways to tell their stories accordingly. So just wanted to throw that out there. That's my heart posture, and that's where it comes from. And go ahead.
Probably way behind on this, but I understand you have a bunch of these jerseys.
Yeah.
Every player, and you kind of just rotate through them? Or what?
Yeah, honestly, I try to do it with our new ones. I try to get something from their NIL store just to support them. And so I happened to get Chrissy's last time I had media, and today I had Gianna's. But it's just fun to support them, and I do it with the new players every year. Try to get something from their NIL store.
Speaking of that, yesterday you were wearing Chrissy's jersey on an Instagram video.
Yeah.
Why did you feel the need to want to do that spotlight for her yesterday?
Yeah, I sometimes believe that we give so much attention to great performances, which we should. Those players have earned it. But sometimes people that are really making an impact in our program don't get recognized enough. And so it was just an opportunity for me to shine a light on who Chrissy has been for our team. And so it was just a fun opportunity to shout out what I believe has been a really impactful young woman that probably doesn't get enough shine.
Big picture wise, are you happy with where the team is as you kind of build toward, later in the season?
I don't know. Have you ever asked a coach that and they said yes? I don't know. No, probably right. I think that, I like the trajectory. I like the coachable spirit and desire to put winning first from this group. I thought last against Illinois was probably our worst execution of a scouting report in a while. So, and as a teacher, I got to go, okay, how did we not connect our message enough? We did not play with the same urgency, focus, connectivity that we had been leading up to that. So, I think we gotta, every game teaches us something different, but that one had some painful lessons, because I didn't think we sort of took care of those things that are under our control and didn't have the same level of, urgency to execute what we've been asked to do.
What is your, oh sorry, we all jumped in.
Yeah, go for it.
What is your messaging then for Sunday's game against Iowa?
Get better. I mean, it's sort of the answer to every question. You just, it doesn't matter, get better. Find ways to improve, find ways to use every day's experiences to make improvements in your game. Both teams are going to be, arguably have been playing the most consistent basketball in the conference. They obviously hit a stumble last night in their game versus USC. But I have so much respect for the job that Jan has done with that group, and they're disciplined. They know their identity. They play to their strengths really well. So I shouldn't have to motivate very much for Sunday's game. It's pretty much the top two teams in the conference having a chance to battle it out on our home court. Very different styles of play. So it's going to be who can assert their will and play the game that they in the way that they want to play it. But our messaging, I don't want it to change. I don't want it to be up and down. Like, how badly do you want to have a growth mindset? How badly do you want to create more discipline and toughness? How much did you learn from last year's experiences, and how do we apply those now? And I think those are inches you have to grab, and this is just another opportunity to grab more consistency and get closer to where we want to go.
when you talk about growing the game, and this evolving landscape that we have in college basketball. I was talking to Lindsay Gottlieb last night about that, and she mentioned how a lot of players seem to have that instant gratification. They want that instant gratification. You had Charlize and Kiki up here. One that's obviously got out of the portal, another one that's homegrown. How do you kind of balance that between developing players for that full 4 years and then going into the portal and being able to still be awesome?
Well, I think that the great thing about those two players that you just mentioned, Kiki Rice and Charlize Ledger-Walker, we may have had them for different levels of time, but both of them are absolutely committed to work ethic, growth, and other-centeredness. And so I mean, it's a joy. I do shine a light on someone like Kiki that, stayed 4 years and really paid her dues, but so did Charlize. Charlize stayed 4 years and then happened to have a COVID year plus a injury situation that she responded to. But you're talking about two kids that were committed and loyal and stayed the course. And, I want to honor them for that because less and less people are doing that. But, I think there's also a reality to the landscape that we have now. We are not going to have as many 4-year players as we used to. I don't think so. I don't think I can build only from the freshmen out anymore. I don't like that. I actually would not prefer that. But it doesn't really matter what I think. My job is to lead in the landscape I've been given. It's a reality in how we recruit and NIL money and everything, that instant gratification is something you're always trying to battle. The way we have chosen to attack entitlement or instant gratification is to practice gratitude and to serve selflessly. And I think if we can plant those seeds of gratitude and selflessness and servant-mindedness, that can sometimes find a healthy tension. Because I want them to maximize their opportunities. I don't begrudge anyone for that. But at the same time, there needs to be a little bit of a perspective that there's a lot of value in having to work long and hard for what you want. And I want them to be able to experience both of those things.
Coach, I wanted to go back to the Illinois game for a second. You said that you didn't think the girls executed at a high level, but it was a tight game. And what can you take from being in a tight game to a game like Iowa? Yeah,
it's a great point because I actually thought there was really great value. We were challenged. They cut it to 5, I think was the smallest margin in the second half. And we had to practice poise, make some adjustments to how they were playing. They're the first team that has played us one-on-one in the post. And, we did have to make some adjustments in our defense in the second half. I will be the first to say, I think I could have coached a better game. I could have made some adjustments in the first half, I think, in how we were playing some of their actions to maybe disrupt rhythm. So just like I expect them to do that, I think I could have coached a better game too. But I do think the value of that game is that we got challenged and we had to respond with less margin for error, and we had to do it quick in a pressurized, hostile environment. And I think that will be a lesson that bodes well for us as we go down the stretch to possibly a more contested game against Iowa.
Coach, I know practice just ended, but have you heard anything about Lauren?
Yeah, she's back. I think she's okay. She walked off well. I was actually just in there before I came out here. She had a collision, and so, we're obviously going to be conservative and be wise, but I'm not worried at this point. So.
And on to Mia, is there any update on her timeline? And second part of that question, how has her role on the sideline kind of evolved as she's been injured?
Yeah, I think she continues to be, I'm not smart enough to explain to you all that's happening, plus the law doesn't allow me to go into it all anyways, but we're just in a sort of up and down as she pushes and recovers. It's sort of, day to day, and 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and so on and so forth. But in terms of her role, I can be very definitive in that. Like even at the beginning of practice today, I was like, Tamia, we need you. We need your mind. She is so smart. Her IQ is off the charts. We need her relational connection because she is so good in terms of the trust that she's built. And we really rely on her to be another coach out there and to be engaged all the time because she really is impactful, even in the role. She reminds me so much of the impactful role that Charlize Ledger-Walker played last year for us. She may not have been playing tactically out on the floor, but she sure was impacting winning. And Tamia is very similar to that vein. So.
During practice, Coach Sasha said to Lena, like, if you don't talk, you're gonna come over here and do planks. How does she as a freshman respond to that kind of coaching?
You know, it's hard to know, to be honest. She never changes her face. If you ever need a poker player, Lena is your girl. She's the one. I think that's been one of the things as we've learned each other. She has such a stoic face, no matter if you scream at her or if you celebrate with her. But I think we're at a point with Lena, we believe in her so much. She's grown a lot, but we understand the urgency of what's in front of her, and we think she can go for it more, and we're trying to bring that out in her. But I'll tell you, the only way you know if you got through is if the behavior changed. You sure don't know by what she's putting on her face. So, well, really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you guys very much. Thank you.